weekend to be, and we didn't want to miss it. And so it is that I join you now from the Hizzy, Tom from the CP, you where you are, and soon, hopefully, everybody tomorrow, that is, will be at Doak Campbell Stadium, Bobby Bowden Field for the spring game. How are you, brother?
I'm doing all right. It's a hustling and bustling CP on a Masters Friday, Major League Baseball Friday. We got the happy hour coming up later, but I'd say there's upwards of 35 people here now. It's happening. I guess people said the hell with it.
Well, it's too pretty to go to work. Nobody should be at work right now. It's perfect outside. You've got Major League Baseball on the tube behind you, I see, with the Red Sox and the Yankees. First pitch underway, about to start. Of course, as you noted, the Masters, and I've got that on in the background here at the house. But, yeah, man, it's we couldn't have asked for anything better than this in terms of the weekend weather forecast. The Chamber of Commerce is smiling, right? It's you can't have anything better. So the Noles that are in town, we welcome you, and those on your way, come on down. Good times in Tallahassee. As tomorrow will be interesting. I have to admit. I think that it's going to be a fun day over there at the stadium and thereabouts. Lots of people in town, lots of people excited to watch this team continue to climb, if I could be so cheesy. And I think they have. I think that's what they've done this spring. They've gotten better. Still think they have a long ways to go, but I think they're better than they were at this time last year, and that's good news.
Oh, there's no doubt. And yesterday was a spirited practice. I was over there. Believe it or not, man, it was worth your time. I know you were feeling the effects of what you're now, really feeling with the sickness, but they went into Doak Campbell. They did a goal line drill, and they had the Warchant blaring on loop. And basically it was a race to a certain total, and would the offense win or would the defense win? It came down to the wire, and it was really spirited. So they look like they're ready to go. It was a game, frankly, that I wish they would reinstall for the spring game itself. It's easy for people to get behind, but everybody's ready to go. And as you said, it won't be as windy tomorrow as it is today. It's just going to be beautiful. So looking forward to it.
I saw where Mike was really pleased that he got him, back after him and was pleased with their ability to adapt to that and get after it in goal line. Linebackers stood out according to all that were there. I know you were there. You're right. Actually, I made a decision not to go thinking it would be a light practice. It's a good thing I chose not to go. You'd all be sick. But yeah, it was it was good to see them get after that. I remember them doing goal line a bit last year. I was hoping they'd get after it again this year. So I'm glad that he was able to work it in. Actually, you know what's interesting about goal line, Tom? I remember this from my playing days. It's rugged, but it's fun. I always thought it was fun. I always had a blast with it. I mean, it's nasty now. You got to strap it on. But everybody kind of understands the expectations. Nobody's going at half speed at goal line. It's like you give to get,
Yeah, I don't know that we're allowed to say the specifics of how it went, but let's just say there was upwards of 20 reps. And when you've got 20 reps of goal line and the emotions that come with that, maybe some guys needed to be separated from each other because there was so much talking going on back and forth. But it was good to see. Everybody was extremely competitive, and you know how it works, whether it's a speaking engagement or a game you create around the house with the boys. If your kids don't buy in, or if you don't have a good audience, then you can't be good. But if they buy into it, then it becomes something really, really fun. And the players were all about it yesterday. So I think they're ready to go. I can't imagine. They said today's helmets only, no shoulder pads. So today they're going to skate through it, hang out with their families that are in town. The coaches are going to impress the recruits, and then it's all about the big show tomorrow.
Yeah, and to recap for everybody exactly what we have in store for you at Warchant today, it's kind of really all kicks off right here with the Jeff Cameron Show, and then later this afternoon, unfortunately, I'm going to sneeze. I got to get quick on the draw.
Listen, this lineup is nothing to sneeze at, sir. This lineup is nothing to sneeze at.
You know what I got to do? I got to get the mouse ready to go to mute this mic. It's going to happen several times today. Anyhow, that said, we got the Jeff Cameron Show, and then after this show concludes, if you're getting off of work or you're going to bounce out a little bit early because it's too beautiful to be inside, make your way on over to the CP out there as it's a Warchant 5 to 6 happy hour. Good times. Tom's going to fill in for me, and I appreciate that. Corey Clark will be there. Several people, I'm sure, from Warchant will be there, and a lot of folks about town will make their way over there as well. And then tomorrow, on-site Hotel Indigo, 12 to 3. I'm hoping certainly to make that if I can and join everybody because it's a perfect setting. And you and I will be doing the pregame show one way or the other. And then from there, You got the watch along with yourself, Tom and Gene, and then of course a post game call-in show after the game. So pre-game, post-game, game itself, watch along, all that, good times. Once again, Hotel Indigo gets the party started around 12 o'clock. So should be a good day, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they set this up. I do think, obviously a lot of people who can't get to town will be watching this. I think honestly, they should set it up, Tom, for this to be entertaining one way or the other, because we know if they go first team, that the defense is going to win. So I'm curious to see situationally what they do to challenge the offense, but also make it something that if they are to perform well, they're rewarded for.
Yeah, and I would say, again, Todd, to answer your question, it's on ACC Network, yes, 5 o'clock. Hopefully they're not late like last year where there was a lacrosse final and we didn't get in until, the second or third drive. But, yeah, the point remains that even in goal line where it's skewed towards the offense, I mean, if it's goal line, all you got to do is gain a few yards and you succeed. It's not 1st and 10 or 3rd and long. The offense had something for the defense yesterday. So we'll see. I don't know that they scripted the offense to be successful. I think they just threw a few wrinkles at the defense that the defense had not seen so far in spring camp. So maybe Mike's saving a couple of concepts that maybe they haven't seen a whole lot of, and that's how you do it. You don't necessarily have to set up the defense to call a play that is going to, fall into the trap that the offense is setting for it in order for the offense to be successful. I think this offense is good enough to make plays on its own. It doesn't need too much help. But I just don't know that they can string 4 and 5 together. So there should be some explosives both ways tomorrow. And I think what a lot of people want to see is these transfers, whether it's Micah Pittman, Johnny Wilson, or on the other side, Jared Verse and Tayden Bethune. If all of those guys take turns making plays, I think the approval level of what people see will go up dramatically, because that's what this spring was about before we started, and that's still what it's about. Are these transfers going to make a difference?
Carol writes that she's hoping for an awesome game tomorrow. Can't wait to see how all the new players on the team pan out, especially the transfer portal players. Well, the transfer portal players have really been kind of the star of the show, as Tom was just alluding to. I think that number one on that list is Tayden Bethune. He's been, practice in, practice out, an impact player. He gets everybody organized. He's a leader. He's vocal in his efforts to get people lined up properly, Tom. I think people look to him. I think between he and Jamie Robinson and a couple other guys, even Kalen DeLoach, another linebacker, they do a very good job of getting this team lined up properly. But in terms of solely the transfer portal guys, Micah Pittman and Tayden Bethune have been fantastic. The others have been good too. Verse has come along quickly. You feel good about him as a transfer. Obviously, I think Johnny Wilson's an up and down player. I think he's a boom or bust player. I think he's a guy you're glad you added without question. He's also a guy that I need to see get more consistent catching the football. It's a problem for him, but he's a big play guy, and his potential is huge because it's rare to have a body type like that. So, I think obviously Benson has worked well. They've done well with the guys they've brought in, and I think those guys will perform tomorrow.
Yeah, we were kidding around yesterday during the shortened practice that only because you weren't there did Johnny Wilson have a good day, because he did consistently, whether it was in the IPF where they started practice, on the proper outdoor fields where the middle portion was, or in the stadium. He made a nice catch on a fade. Hey, how about a fade to somebody who's over 5'10"? That's a good idea. But yes, he was consistently a good player for this for the whole group yesterday, and only because you weren't there. So hopefully he shows out for you tomorrow.
Because I think that everybody in attendance on Thursday would have admitted, on Tuesday would have admitted that he was not. He was terrible. So this is sort of this is my concern, dude. He is this and he is that, and hopefully he has more of these upward mobility days that you're talking about as we move along, because that body type, you can't teach it. There aren't many things to do with that if he's high point in the football. So, for our quarterbacks, I sure am grateful that they now have a guy that they can throw to, and they can truly, as they say, put it up there. Throw it up, get it up there, because there's no reason for that throw to be anywhere near the shoulders. He's a big kid. He can really jump and extend. You might have something there in the red zone this year at the very, very least.
Well, if he was consistent catching the football, like really consistent, then he'd be an ACC game breaker in year one. As long as he is relatively consistent at doing it, then a defense has to account for who he is in the red zone or even down the field. If he's running a fly, you're not going to leave somebody in isolation for that matchup. Jordan is very good at diagnosing pre-snap. This is one thing that we don't talk about as it relates to him as a quarterback. He'll see a matchup pre-snap, and then he'll pull the trigger within, a second because he knows he doesn't have that much time, but also he has the smarts to see what this offense is trying to do to generate those one-on-one matchups that Mike Norvell talked about when he first took the job. But if Johnny Wilson can at least somewhat consistently bring the ball down in those situations, then you have to account for him, and it opens up other things for a Micah Pittman or a Pokey Wilson, Ja'Kai Douglas, the rest of the crew.
Yeah, and by the way, there's no doubt that that's something Jordan does exceptionally well, and it's something that he's continued to do well this spring, and that's an area I don't have any concerns about. So we'll see. It'll be fun. Really quickly, you and I should at least address all of the other stuff that's going on, including the Masters, which, Tom, I think if we were rating this thing yesterday, and I enjoyed my conversation with Jay Revel, I hope others did too yesterday. I thought it was a good talk about golf for those that are mildly interested even. I don't know that we can overstate how cool a story the Tiger Woods round was yesterday at -1. I would caution everybody. I have a suspicion, and if I'm wrong, then he has a chance to win the tournament. If I'm wrong about today, then he has a chance to win the tournament. I don't think he's going to be good today, Tom. That tee time is brutal, and he sprayed it all over the lot yesterday. So now we're going to pick up wins, and the ability to scramble, which is what he did yesterday, becomes that much more difficult. I'm watching some of these guys earlier today who haven't missed 500 and something days of competitive golf, and they're struggling, and the wins are just now getting going. But you know what? He positions himself to where even if he's 5 over today, he can make the cut because he's 1 under going in. And I think that cut line is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of +4, +5 with the conditions today. So we'll see. Cross your fingers for him, but today's going to be a hard day.
It is already. Yeah, you could tell. Last I checked, he was still tied 9 at 1 under par because the field has kind of fallen back to earth a little bit, and those winds will kick up. It's just one of those days where if you can hit those 40 to 60-yard pitches within 10 feet, then you have a 10-footer for par instead of, knocking it close for in 2 on a par 5. I think there's a lot of that going on today. He had a lot of practice yesterday at it, but I thought if you look at his round in totality, 1 under was about right. There were a couple of situations where he missed makeable birdie putts. There was an evil lip out on number 5 yesterday that looked like it was down. Tiger thought it was most certainly a birdie. And then there were some escape jobs, like on number 18. We were just walking into practice after his tee ball on 18. I thought, damn it, Tiger, there's a 73 because you're about to double. And somehow, some way, that dude got home in 4 to shoot 71. If he gets in the clubhouse at 73 or 74 today, I think he still might have a chance to win the tournament this weekend. We'll see if anybody has a crazy good round. The one thing about Cam Smith that I'll say, and he leads right now solo because it looks like Sun J.M. came back to earth a little bit. Cam Smith's win at the Players had conditions like this, worse than this, on moving day. So he's a player who won a tournament recently who've seen worse than this. But the difference is the greens at Augusta are not forgiving if you miss it by 2 feet.
Yeah, if you're wondering about the leaderboard, it is Cam Smith at -4. He hasn't teed off yet, which is at 130, so he'll be dealing with these difficult wins. Charles Schwartzel is about to be in the clubhouse, and Tom, he may be heading to the weekend at -3. If that holds up, goodness gracious, he makes this once-a-year appearance. Corey Connors has had a great round. Sung J M, as you said, has come back down to earth. It's been interesting. Neiman tees off at 141. Scheffler tees off at 203. Those two are at -3. Dustin Johnson's had a rough afternoon. He's at 4 the day +2. So it's been fun. We'll continue to keep you updated with that. And I will tell you this, that there are a couple holes that are playing like there's a par 5 right now that's playing like a par 6. There are a couple of holes here where a par feels like a birdie.
Yeah, the dude I'm interested to see this afternoon beyond Tiger, because that's everybody's person, is Scottie Scheffler, because he did play well at the match play out in Austin, and it was windy out there, but he is a high ball hitter. And so can he handle that and flight it down today? We'll see.
He's not afraid, man. That's a really good player, and I wouldn't suspect that he'll back up too much there. We should also mention something else that I didn't get a chance to talk about before. I'm beginning to get concerned here, Tom, and maybe we'll save this for the break and come back. But CY is leaving the program, the basketball program, that is. That I don't know if the average fan, and this is not a knock or a condescending comment, I don't know why if I lived in, like, say, St. Petersburg and on a day-to-day basis worked at the bank, I would have any reason to know this. CY is critical to Florida State's success on the basketball court. He has done incredible work here. And that's partly because, as he's pointed out himself, Ham has been such a good teacher and has given him a lot of responsibilities. But he's made the most of those responsibilities, Tom, and he's leaving to go coach at Missouri. And I'm beginning to get a bad feeling about where we're at Florida State with basketball. I know today's football. I know it's the Masters. I know it's Major League Baseball. We won't spend a lot of time on this, but I think it's a big deal that he's leaving. I'll talk about it next. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Here we go. Your next chance to grow your green this spring and win $1,000 is coming up at 2 p.m.
I just won $1,000.
Listen for the keyword at the top of the hour. Then enter that keyword online at realtalk93.com.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, T-SparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Thank you for calling the Medicare Help Desk. How can we help you?
Can you help me choose the right coverage for myself and my wife?
We sure can. We can help you choose from Medicare Supplements, Medicare Advantage, or standalone prescription drug plans from over 30 different insurance carriers.
How much does it cost? We have a fixed income and can't afford extra expenses.
At the Medicare Help Desk, the consultation is completely free. We are here to help.
Thank you, Medicare Help Desk.
Hi, this is Justin Colvin, founder of the Medicare Help Desk. In my 17 years of experience, I routinely speak to seniors who are overwhelmed by the multitude of coverage options available to them. That's why I created the Medicare Help Desk, a place for you to get clear answers to all your questions and make sense of all the confusion. I've helped thousands of clients, and I live right here in Tallahassee with my family. I am active in my church and wish to help and serve my community. If you need help navigating the Medicare landscape, I'm easy to find. Just visit the MedicareHelpDesk.com. That's the MedicareHelpDesk.com.
Hey man, have you heard the sound? The Talford Jewelry's the best in town. For rings, diamonds, earrings, bracelets, and more. Penn Talford Jewelry Store.
Hey, this is Greg Tish. I want to tell you about my first experience at Penn Talford Jewelry. It was many, many years ago, and my grandparents took me up there for a special occasion to buy me a necklace. I still remember how amazing the customer service was. Fast forward to today, and I can still go in there and get the same great customer service at Penn Talford Jewelry. Nothing has changed, not even their location, 2903 Appalachia Parkway, where they've always been. Now sing along with me, and I'll see you at Penn Talford Jewelry.
Penn Talford Jewelry. Penn Talford Jewelry. Penn Talford Jewelry. Home of the midnight price.
Howdy there, folks. Jeff Cameron here, inviting you to join me from 1 to 3 each and every weekday afternoon. We're live and local thanks to great sponsors like Hamilton Home Loans, a personalized mortgage loan experience built just for you and your needs. It's refreshingly simple at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out War.
Jeff Cameron Show, Libations Friday, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Good to be with you. Bear with my voice as it goes in and out. I was noting a moment ago before we went to break, and by the way, Tom is at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, and I am at home. And if you get the opportunity, you're getting off work, make sure you swing past CP. It's all and it's a happy hour basically from 5 to 6 as well. So you should be good to swing on by there and kick off this weekend right. I was noting, by the way, I should say, before the break that CY is leaving the program, Charlton Young leaving the basketball program. And if you think about what he's done since he joined the program in 2013, you could argue, Tom, certainly that he has been the coach primarily responsible for the uptick in recruiting that has allowed for us to make it to 4 NCAA tournaments, 2017 through 2019, and again in 2021 to win the ACC regular season in 2020. And by all accounts, a lot of people believe he helped bring in Dwayne Bacon, Malik Beasley, Terrence Mann, Devin Vassell, Patrick Williams, Scotty Barnes, Matthew Cleveland over the last 6 seasons. And at one time, I know we thought long-term that either Dennis Gates or Charlton Young, and Charlton goes and joins Dennis now, were looked upon as, prime candidates to succeed Leonard Hamilton. And my fear here is that I think he was grooming one, if not both of those guys to be here. But now that they're at an SEC school and allegedly, I haven't gotten confirmation on this, it does look like he's received a massive raise of over $500,000 more than he's making here. So, there would be really no reason from a money standpoint for them to come back here. Leonard Hamilton is going to be 74 this summer, Tom. He's just lost the 2 most vital pieces to his coaching staff as it pertains to recruiting. The program did not have a good year. Anthony Polite announced he's leaving as well and not coming back. That's the other bit of basketball news. That's not the end of the world, but you would have liked to have had him back. So I just get a sense that we're on the cusp of watching this thing fall off a cliff. I'm just going to say it. I don't think the basketball program is upwardly mobile. I think it's in trouble.
Yeah, it's Charles Bradley. Where do we go from here? That's the question. I saw yesterday that John Rothstein tweeted out that we are courting Boise State's R.J. Barsh, who apparently is well thought of, but I don't know if that is somebody that Leonard wants to bring in to be a successor. We thought there was a clear line of succession here that, ideally Dennis Gates would go away, prove his wares as a head coach, come back here, take over. But if you've got Missouri money, which is SEC money, any program in that SEC, and you're able to double or triple salaries for individual coaches, what's the allure to come back here? That's a tough question. So what is the line of succession? And is this person, if we land him from Boise State, somebody who is capable of taking over the reins? Are they a cold-blooded recruiter in this region of the country or the places that we've been very good? Actually, we've been good internationally, but if you look for those 4-stars or 5-star players, we're good in the Carolinas, obviously, Atlanta, Chicago. Can we continue to do that with a replacement assistant coach? I still trust in Coach Hamilton's connections, that I'm not completely writing it off, but yeah, I'm majorly concerned as well at this point. How could you not be?
I think if you take a step back and you say to yourself, if I were, let's just say my task was to cover the ACC as it pertains to basketball, right? My job was to cover the ACC and have insight on each of the programs in this conference. Tell you what, it would be an interesting time. I know North Carolina was a whisker away from winning the national championship just now, and that Duke made the Final Four. So what you would write about the relative health of this conference, you'd have to be careful, because obviously this was a conference written off this year, and they had 2 people in the Final Four, and they had a sterling record in the NCAA tournament. Miami going to the Elite Eight, et cetera. But Larinaga is old, and he looks a lot older than he is, but he is in his 70s. Leonard Hamilton is, as I mentioned, going to be 74, and he's been an uber successful coach at a program that is not accustomed to having a lot of success. Mike Krzyzewski just retired. I would note, in addition to all of that, Roy Williams is gone.
Jim Boeheim.
Boeheim is 77 years old. So all of these men have either retired or are about to in the twilights of their career. And it's going to be fascinating. And I guess getting back to my point, if I were tasked with covering this conference, I would begin to write off the likes of Florida State. I would say they just lost 2 critical pieces in the last 4 years, one of which went on to turn a dumpster fire of a program around and quickly elevate his status to the point where he got a job in the SEC, and then took an assistant who he knew from Florida State, was a remarkable recruiter, and brought him into Missouri. And I love Ham, and he's done amazing work, but there is no way to suggest anything other by definition at 74 years old. He's at the tail end, if not the very end of his career. So, sir, these are not good times. This is not good. This football program, which will take that field tomorrow, had better get this thing turned around, everybody.
Man, it's all falling to pieces, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. You got the transfer from Brown, so maybe he can help you in the front court. If you have a couple of these younger kids stick around, that's a good thing in the immediate term. But you know me, ever since we first moved to the FM dial way back in the day, this ACC, man, it's been a pain in my butt. And like you said, where are you going to go? Where was the landing spot? But it feels like a marriage that's just in place until the kids get out of the house and go to college. We're just doing this for the kids at this point, aren't we? This is going to be a very professional relationship. Well, hopefully the kids grow up, and that means that we get an invite to the new age of college football or whatever it is. But because that's what's going to bring a guy like Dennis Gates back, or a guy like CY back, when you have that kind of money. But as we've seen, we're willing to pay championship level coaches. But if you're looking for the infrastructure to go along with it, this is not the place to be. And that sucks. That sucks to say. For football, we're efforting it to be. And that's where all the resources have to go. But that domino better fall soon. And it can't fall tomorrow at the spring game, but you just feel the pinch of it, even though this is the off season for football, technically.
Ryan asked a question on the chat here. What does Alfred do if Norvell wins 9 games and wants Jimbo money? Well, you don't give him Jimbo money, but you certainly give him a raise, because if he wins 9 games, Ryan, I know where your head's at. I will point to the fact that even you would say that is a major overachievement if he wins 9 games with this roster. And at that point, you would have to believe that he has proven himself and is upwardly mobile. I think he is. I know the vast majority of the fan base does not, because they're coming off a 5-7 season. It's interesting. I think that, when we're there on a daily basis and we see the way this team responds, and we see that the roster is growing with the kinds of guys that look the part, as I say, and that they're doing well in assessing the transfer portal guys. And I think that the win-loss record will be better this year. It's important they have a winning season. There's no doubt about that. At some point, it has to be tangible. It has to be a result. I get it. Can't all be process. But if they go and they are able to do that, then I think everybody breathes and exhales a sigh of relief. It's curious. It's a big year. He knows it. I'll say this to our listeners and viewers. It's not lost on Norvell and this staff how big a season this is, how important this is. You hear things, I'll just put it that way, from sources and people around the program, that they know it's critical they take a big step forward this year, because they know that those who want to give money but are on the fence, those that desperately want to see Florida State win, and they just don't know what to believe because they've only seen these results, right? And they're like, well, I get it. It was transition. It was tough. They made a decision to fire a coach, early in his tenure, and then you're automatically resetting the table and all of that other stuff. But they still need to see some tangible success, right? They can hear from you and me and some others around the program that he's a good coach, that he's doing a good job, that it just takes time, but they want to see it. Those guys over there understand that. And that's why I expect them to be very, very aggressive in their efforts to kind of solidify some of the areas of weakness that we've talked about throughout the spring. you've got a group now in Rising Spear that appears to be on the cusp of making even more announcements. I know there's something coming early next week that I can tell you on the show today without getting into details. There's something coming next week in regards to Rising Spear doubling their efforts and joining with a group that's going to help them do that. And so this is going to continue to grow.
Us?
And
Are they joining with us?
No, and I can't get into details, but it's coming next week. You're going to hear something early in the week about that organization as they continue to make strides and to help this program financially. Good, because I would do everything in my power as Coach Norvell or one of these assistants, to want to keep my job. It's a high-paying job at a great university, and if you get it right, you're in a good location, you can win a lot of games. We know that. But also, I would know how important it is. So, be interesting to see what happens after the spring game in the transfer portal, where they go and how many kids they look at and who do they aggressively seek to bring in here.
Yeah, there are times maybe in a program's development where you can root for kids to develop and wait for them. This is not that time. If you're rooting for a kid, that means they're not performing. And if they're not performing, that means you got to recruit over them immediately. It's just you need to be like a certain young member of your family was years ago, quick to punch guy. You've got to strike first. If there's any hesitation, if there's any doubt, and that's what I assume what the coaches' meetings will be about once they conclude spring practice on Tuesday. They've got one more after the game tomorrow. Then they do whatever exit meetings they do as they transition into recruiting. It's give me the cold-blooded assessment. Alex, can this guard play? Can this tackle play? Okay. Coach Shannon, can this linebacker play? Yes, no? All right. And then they put together their whiteboard of, positions of need in the portal, and they stalk that thing like crazy. They stalk that thing like a 17-year-old waiting for it to crawl in a DM, right? But that's the thing. That's the thing that's coming next. You cannot be timid. If you have a chance, go take the chance. As long as the kid is not going to be a cancer for the culture, then go for it. Try and make it happen.
Have you been surprised this camp? I know we're going to go to break here in a second. Have you been surprised this camp at how vocal and intense Randy Shannon has been? Because I'll tell you what, Randy Shannon, the head coach, no thanks. Randy Shannon, the coordinator on the field with a whistle, I'm fine with. I really like what he's doing in terms of the approach, discipline, focus, intensity. Now, he has another facet that he's going to have to do a good job in, and that's recruiting, so we'll see. But as far as the on-the-field linebackers coach, he is not having it. There is an intensity to him, especially with some of these guys, I think that aren't, let's say, Tayden Bethune, who he trusts because he had him at UCF and he knows he's a productive player. But everybody else that hasn't proven themselves to be uber productive on the field on Saturdays or have a step that can be taken, he is all over them every day. It's very impressive, man. There's an intensity there that belies the record from a year ago and the need to get better, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've seen him rein in some guys if they were, straying away from drills, like it's not their turn yet and it's not going to be for a couple of minutes. Like he'll reel them back in towards the drill and shout them down. But honestly, I've kind of seen Coach Shannon only in passing when I'm, whatever assignment I've got with the O-line or the D-line. So when you said, do you agree with me? I don't know. You tell me. So that's very interesting. That's an insight. Yeah. I have no idea what the linebacker drills really look like play for play. So that's good to hear.
Yeah, so we both, and for those out there, we'll give you a peek behind the curtain. We all go into practice with a different focus. So Tom's been tasked pretty much with looking at the offensive and defensive lines on a day-to-day basis and kind of give us all a gauge as to the starters, the depth, where they're at, who's getting better, who hasn't, been up to snuff, all of those things, some of the younger guys. For me, I've taken it upon myself to look at two groups in particular because I already have my concerns about the offensive line. I like this defensive line, so I'm like, and anything else I need to know, I'll ask Tom because I trust him. I've been very concerned for some time about our linebackers. I've wanted to look at it. And then number two, receivers. So I've watched closely the receivers and I've watched very closely the linebackers. And while I'm encouraged by both with some of the improvements, whether those be transfer portal guys like Tayden Bethune, like Micah Pittman, those are two good examples of how that group got elevated because of those two guys. I've been very interested to see how they've been coached, who's responded to the intensity and the competition. And, of course, in the case of Randy Shannon, I'd never really been around him. Randy was the head coach at Miami. I used to make fun of him. He did not do a good job as a head coach at Miami, and I don't shy away from that. That's fine. He's not a head coach here, so I don't need him to be that. I need him to be a good linebackers coach, and I need him to be what we need him to be as a recruiter. That time will tell on that one. But as far as the day-to-day teaching the position and getting after guys, he's been great. He's been hardcore. He's been demanding and focused and detail-oriented, and that's exactly what I've wanted to see.
So a specific player, let me ask you about before we go to break, DJ Lundy. What have you seen out of him? Because when I watch team, he flashes at times, but I just wonder if you notice that maybe he gets more praise than not, or who's, because Bethune's the guy, but I thought DJ Lundy looks improved, not just thinner, because that's clear, that's easy to see, but he looks improved.
He's improved because he's faster, which goes along with being thinner. He's faster. I still don't like him isolated in coverage. I mean, he is always going to be a guy that is going to tackle against the run, and he's got some thunder that he brings with him. And he's done that in camp, and he's faster to do it because his first step is quicker because he's lost some weight. But he's still a big dude. He's never going to be a guy that you want to be in coverage or to get isolated in coverage. I think the linebackers are better because the two on the field are going to primarily be Tayden Bethune and Kalen DeLoach. And those are two good – like Kalen DeLoach at the start of last year, 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you. By the end of last year, I legitimately thought Kalen DeLoach was a good football player. Like just a good linebacker, period. He was a good player. He's pretty good in coverage. He's gotten very good against the run. He's not a liability in coverage, I should say. Tayden Bethune's the complete linebacker of this bunch, which means that you can push people back down on the depth chart where they need to be, and they're not out there as your starters. So DJ Lundy, if you're going to ask him to run 15, 20 snaps, yeah, I think he can be good. Same with Amari Gaynor, right? Those guys don't have to be 1-2. They can be 3-4, and they can spell the top 2, and you knock on wood that you don't get hurt. The other thing you do is you go get a linebacker in the portal to strengthen the depth, because I think you need another one. I think you need another guy at a high level, somewhere between where Tayden Bethune is and where DJ Lundy is.
Yeah, agreed. The difference is, and Adam Fuller talked about this, I think it was after scrimmage too, but it's the communication. It's the diagnosing pre-snap. Kalen DeLoach was really good at that by the end of the season. The interception that he made against Florida in the Swamp has everything to do with pre-snap recognition and knowing your keys, and really nothing to do with the athleticism. That was all a play about smarts. Just like getting downhill and making the safety, the tackle for the safety against Boston College that they had to review. Those are things that are instinct because your training has brought you to a place. The question is how much of that was maybe a little bit of Randy Shannon towards the end of the season because he was able to get down on the field and do a little bit more instruction as the fall wore on. But, if you continue to see that development and the communication pre-snap, that makes everybody better. It's what a real defense does because your interior defensive linemen are in the correct gaps, and so you create those lanes for yourself. If that's something that we can begin to see with more consistency here, then you don't really have a glaring weakness. Like one that week to week you say, I hope they don't, scheme for this because we can't get after the passer, or our second corner sucks, or the safeties are terrible. If you bring all that together with the communication pre-snap, you have yourself a solid defense across the board with some game changers at different positions, not everywhere on the field.
As we go to break, give you a quick update. Sungjae M, the leader, still tied, though, with Danny Willett at -4. M still on the course with 4 to play, is +1 on his afternoon. Cam Smith tees off here now. He's on the course on number 1. Joaquin Neiman just now teeing off as well. He's amongst the leaders along with Scottie Scheffler, who will tee off shortly. A nice move here from Harold Varner III, who's moved into the top 10. Yesterday at one point, Tom, he was +4. Then he went eagle birdie. Got it to +1, ended up concluding the day at 71, and today is 1 under par and now -2 for the tournament. Nice to see Harold Varner II. Fun, puts a smile on your face. From there, some other big names. Patrick Cantlay is even par on the day, -2 for the tournament. Matthew Fitzpatrick still out there. So Tiger Woods has teed off, and here we go. We'll keep watching, give you updates throughout, but should be a fun afternoon as the winds are now gusting. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
News now.
The Florida Highway Patrol says a 5-year-old is in critical condition after a hit-and-run crash in Jennings Monday night. The boy was riding his bike in the area of County Road 143 and Mary Street around 7 p.m. that day. FHP says a 2011 to 2014 Ford Edge hit the boy and fled the scene. The suspect vehicle should have damaged the front headlight assembly on the passenger side. At this time, investigators do not know the color of the vehicle. Troopers are asking the public for help so they can find the SUV and driver involved. A cluster of bacterial meningitis has popped up in Tallahassee, with 3 cases confirmed, one of which is an FSU student by the Leon County Health Department. Meningitis is not highly contagious. You won't get it from just casually interacting with someone who has it. What you want to avoid is sharing a drink or any kind of saliva exchange. Symptoms of meningitis can show up very suddenly. They include fever, headache, and a stiff neck. If you notice these symptoms, you should see a doctor as soon as possible. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunny skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 71. Winds out the west 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 45 tonight, mainly clear. Lots of sunshine outside tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 68. Dry with temperatures near average Sunday and Monday and highs in the upper 70s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 67.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
Of 97 patients, 33 are vaccinated, and 63% are considered incidental.
See, this is what I'm upset about. He's basically made up the percentages to look like it's at 100%, but the two are not related to each other.
What's 37% of 97?
It's 35.89.
So why in the hell can't he literally ask iPhone to include that in his articles?
Maybe he's got an Android.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange.
Loosey-goosey edition of the Jeff Cameron Show. Thanks for being with us. Warchant TV, like and subscribe. Also, if you would, share and tell everybody this is where you can find the best in Florida State coverage, warchant.com. Articles all week long leading up to the spring game, coverage at the spring game, before the spring game, and after the spring game. We've got you covered, including my man Tom Lang out there at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. We'll be joined later this afternoon by Corey Clark. I was set to do that, but alas, I don't want to be irresponsible and get people sick, so I won't be there. But you can be. That shouldn't prohibit you from going. Go have fun. Do it up. I'm trying not to sneeze, Tom. I'm battling, buddy.
That's okay.
My eyes have turned red.
Well, just hang in there for a little bit longer. Maybe you can Pedialyte your way to Hotel Indigo tomorrow, but it's hopping already here. We're up to about 50 people here already. This is no longer a lunch. People are just here. They are locked in. They're watching baseball. They're watching the Masters, and looks like Tiger needs an up and down on number one for par.
Yeah, this is no longer a lunch is something that many of my friends have heard come out of my mouth over the years. Yeah, where it starts off innocent enough. Guys, this is no longer a lunch. We ain't going back to the office today.
That also happens sometimes on the weekends of the 19th hole. It's like you play the 8 o'clock round because you want the rest of your day. And then you're done around 12:15. If there's no, crowd in front of you, you're down by 11:30, 11:45. Next thing you know, it's 1:30 and you're saying, I guess we're getting another round. This is really good. I need to see if Bo Hostler can win the Valero Texas Open. I guess we're going to stick around for 4 more hours.
Suddenly, by the way, in those moments, whether or not Bo Hostler can pull off the big win at the Valero or will it be Spawn becomes the most interesting thing in the world.
And I would never care about them, except that day, he's my excuse. Thank you, Bo Hostler, and your giant visor. I appreciate you.
Oh, my gosh. I just had a sneeze and fit. I was going to tell you to whistle or talk about hockey.
Well, I've got a lot of things I can talk about with hockey, if you prefer.
Which is a nightmare for us right now. And I don't mean the show. I mean, that too might be a nightmare for many of our listeners, not me. I don't mind listening.
Yeah, the number count of the listeners just go down by the dozens. They'd be like, all right, here we go. Lang's in on the Atlantic Division picture in the NHL. Great.
Yeah. The other night I was laying in bed. I was so disgusted. I texted you. I was like, I wanted to say, are we even going to make the playoffs, man? What is going on here? This is falling off a cliff. But it's a bunch of tired old guys.
Yeah, it is. Thankfully, we are going to make the playoffs. But beyond that, I'd almost put those guys in hyperbaric chambers right now and call up the kids from the AHL. Just screw it. You're not going to win the division. The Panthers are really good. It's like, Tiger and Pebble. They're just running away with it.
Yeah, and I am holding my breath for Tiger today, as I said at the beginning of the show. I'm a little concerned about what the afternoon holds for him and really all these other guys. Hey, by the way, shout out. I brought up basketball a moment ago, and obviously there was sort of a dire tone to what I was talking about. And I'm not one to mince words, but man, how cool is it to see what's happened for Scottie Barnes and to listen and read. There are a number of articles in the last 48 hours for those that do care about Florida State basketball and its alum, if you will. This is a kid that, I mean, he has wowed the likes of LeBron James. And so listening to the write-ups and the folks around the NBA covering the league day to day, there's a good chance that guy is going to go on to be a perennial all-star. It's crazy.
And just remember, it's very instructional for us FSU basketball fans that maybe thought, well, he could refine his game completely different at the NBA level. The way they play defense, the way it all works with man-to-man, you can just take the basket or take the ball to the basket and cram if you want to, and that's something that Scottie's already really, really good at. But he was a flawed player here last year. He's already a budding star in the NBA this year. It's just crazy how different those two levels of the game are, and if you have the athleticism necessary, then you are on the fast track to doing good things in the NBA.
And the body type. That's the biggest thing too. Like, who looks like that at that age? Who looks like that? But no, he's not only been a really good player, he's been a kid that I think is really well liked around the league too, just because of his style of play, how funny he is to watch, and how affable his personality. I do know this, that any of the guys who have bodies that look like that, when we would tell our listeners, like, yeah, maybe he's averaging 10 a game here or whatever, you don't think he's that good a shooter. Yeah, but they don't build people like that at 18, 19 years old. They don't. And when they do, the NBA notices and they bring them in. But then secondarily, you have to have that kind of body because that's a long-ass season. It's a crazy long season. You have to have the ability to withstand the wear and tear, the beatings that these guys take on a nightly basis. So good for him, man. Good for him. I'm happy to see it. Had some comments here. Folks were asking about any number of things, and I haven't been able to get to all of them. Somebody, when I was talking about the dire nature of the basketball program, feels the same about baseball. I will tell you this. Baseball's at a crossroads too, Tom. Baseball's at a crossroads too. It will be very curious to see how basically the second half, a little less than that, of this season goes. I think I'm not one to hit that panic button. I'm one to be level-headed when it comes to baseball, understanding that you can go through bad stretches and come out of them and still end up having the kind of season that sees you go to the College World Series or a super regional, which, again, by definition would mean you didn't have a bad year. But I also know that it's troubling to see these offensive numbers go south and then further south and then further south. And I also know that if that's coupled with a record that's middling, people have a right to be critical and concerned. And I share some of those concerns. It'll be an interesting weekend for them too.
Yeah, once again, you see the strikeout rate that high. I mean, that's the problem is in the beginning of the year, first 2-3 weeks, it wasn't that big of a deal. The strikeout rate looked healthier. There were more balls being put in play. The frontline pitching was where it was, and that hasn't really changed. But, yeah, at some point, we need to have maybe 3 or 4 guys break out of a team-wide slump. I mean, that's where they are right now, to the point where most times somebody brings up FSU baseball around me these days, I quickly pivot to how well Lonnie's doing with the softball program and how good Cat looks, or Cheryl or Edenfield and her 15 home runs. I find a way to pivot there very quickly. Until there's something good to say, I'm trying not to say anything at all. But the silence at some point is going to be deafening. Hopefully they can correct it this weekend, and then there's a big game on Tuesday night here in town against the Gators. If you can handle business there, that will bide you some time and some goodwill as well.
Number 3, Florida State. Number 5, Virginia Tech. Here we go. You pivoted to softball. I'll tell you what. You want to know how far softball's come? Just in terms of even the Jeff Cameron show, I'm mentioning it. And Tom just cited players and stats, and I knew who he was talking about.
Yeah, there you go. And it was brought up with more than 1 minute to go in the hour. Now we're down to 50 seconds, but that's just that we're making strides here. And that's the thing. In May, flash forward, we're going to be talking about that program a lot. They're very, very good. And another huge opportunity for them this weekend because Virginia Tech RPI-wise is awesome as well.
All right, Tom's at Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Getting off work, go by, see him. Hour number 2 is forthcoming. We'll get to it momentarily. Hang in there. I'm trying to do the same. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Payroll termination. Business owners and managers, these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Here we go. It's time for a chance to grow your green and win $1,000 cash plus a shot at a $10,000 grand prize. Here's your new keyword.
Best. B-E-S-T. Best. B-E-S-T. Best.
Enter that word now at realtalk93.com, and you might be the next winner.
Sweet girl, thank you. Oh my God.
I just won $1,000.
Hey, this is Monica. Hey, this is Elizabeth, and I just won $1,000. All right.
More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next after this town hall news break on WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. President Biden celebrating the confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson as the first black woman to reach the Supreme Court.
Today is a good day, a day that history is going to remember. And in the years to come, they're going to be proud of what we did.
At a ceremony on the White House South Lawn, Jackson says today's an opportunity for her to give thanks.
I know that I am truly blessed. To the many people who have lifted me up in prayer since the nomination, thank you. I am very grateful. Thank you as well, Mr. President, for believing in me and for honoring me with this extraordinary chance to serve our country.
The jury says it has reached decisions on several charges, but remained deadlocked on others. That in the trial of 4 men accused of conspiring to kidnap the governor of Michigan. Also at townhall.com, federal appeals court okaying President Biden's vaccine mandate for federal employees.
A federal appeals court has upheld President Joe Biden's requirement for all federal employees to be vaccinated against COVID-19. In a 2-1 ruling, a panel of the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans reversed a lower court and ordered dismissal of a lawsuit challenging the mandate. U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Brown, a Trump appointee to the District Court for the Southern District of Texas, had issued a nationwide injunction against the mandate in January. The Biden administration had argued the Constitution gives the president, as head of the federal workforce, authority to require that employees be vaccinated. I'm Mike Rossio.
Wildfire in southern Nebraska, fueled by dry conditions and strong winds, forcing the evacuation of one small town, and a volunteer firefighter has died in an accident there. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshares. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, well, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And the process started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. Sounds crazy, right? Well, the crazy thing is this never ends. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. I guarantee if we can't cancel your timeshare, you'll pay nothing.
Were you lied to when buying a timeshare and want out? Get the facts about timeshare cancellation. Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-691-9999. 800-691-9999. 800-691-9999.
This is an important message regarding your backyard grilling capabilities. Upgrade your outdoor grill, indoor and outdoor fireplaces, wood stoves, or create a custom outdoor kitchen. The team at Hearth and Patio can do it all. If you haven't seen all of the amazing things you can do with a custom outdoor kitchen from Hearth and Patio, take a minute and visit their website, hearthpatiotallahassee.com. That's hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Call Hearth and Patio today at 727-4282. That's 727-4282.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2,
number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, Libations Friday, loosey-goosey edition of the program. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeff. There's Tom at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Director Matthew back in the studio, me at the house. Kind of getting healed up for tomorrow. Want to get out there to the stadium, want to have fun. In the interim, reminder, as we get things going here, it is a happy hour party starting pretty soon at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Tom's already there, but if you're working till 5, that's all right. Swing on by, man. Get on over there. There are plenty of people already calling it time for the weekend to begin and work to end. They're there now watching baseball, watching the Masters, you name it. It's all on the Vegas wall there. Of course, you got the outside deck because it's beautiful outside. So going to want to be able to participate in that as well. By the way, if you're watching on Warchant TV, don't forget to like and subscribe and share. Let everybody know where to find us. And if you're listening on 93.3, thanks so much. We appreciate you as always. All right, so it's countdown to spring game. Tomorrow, we'll be ready to go with plenty of coverage. Myself and Tom will get things started over there. Hotel Indigo is a little bit of a meet and greet prior to the pregame show beginning at 1 o'clock, 1 to 3. It should be a good time. I know that. We're always excited. There's always a buzz in the air, especially when the weather's great like this and you have so many people in town coming back, celebrate, get a little taste of football, a little glimpse in football to tide you over till we get into the fall. And really this year into August because, the season starts a little earlier this year. So this will do that. We'll have the pregame show. Then the watch along with Gene and Tom. If you're going into the stadium and joining the rest of us to watch this game in person, don't forget the post-game call-in show after the game as well, where you can kind of weigh in with your thoughts and feelings and all that good stuff. So meet and greet, pregame show, all of it. And, of course, today it all begins right now. Head on over to Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. All right, so I wish I could be there. I wish I was with Tom. I wish I was going to be there later tonight. I'm trying to rest up and get right before tomorrow because out of nowhere I got waylaid by whatever's going around town. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll happen. I want to go to the Hotel Indigo, Tom, because I saw the setup, I saw the pictures, I saw what it was going to look like, and I'd like to be there, but I don't want to get too
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's a long day tomorrow. It's an easy instruction. You just go to Hotel Indigo's lobby, and immediately when you enter to the right, you'll see elevators. Take them to the 7th floor, loop around to the right, and you will find us on the outdoor deck. They are going to have a buffet set up for everybody. They're going to have a cash bar set up as well. It's one of those areas that's used for private functions. It's not necessarily like a 24/7, restaurant and grill and bar. So they're opening it up for us, and they're opening it up for all of you tomorrow. We're looking forward to that. And I do have to comment on one thing at the CP here. Unfortunately, I am treated to the baritones of one Michael K. on Yes Network this afternoon, and that's not ideal. But other than that, it's perfect here, so come on out.
I agree with you, by the way. His is the voice and style. More importantly, it's the style.
See ya.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's the style. Also for years the Yankees radio team was the worst in baseball too. It was awful. You have that 4,000-year-old man who sucks.
He's still there.
He's the worst.
They got 2 80-year-olds, I think, now there, and then Susan's there too.
It's not even ageism or sexism. They just suck at their jobs, and they've had them forever.
Yeah, well, you know who's lost his fastball, sadly? Gary for the Mets. He's not as good anymore. It's starting. It's about time. Probably the next 5 years, it's over.
Yeah, well, these things happen, man. It's heartbreaking when you notice it, though, right? The key is knowing when to get out at the right time.
Yep.
Speaking of which, I saw Hall of Fame legend Gene Deckerhoff the other day on the field, went up and congratulated him and put my arm around him. There you go. He knows it's time to walk. He's ready to go. He's happy.
That's such a
hell of a career.
It's such a sudden and sad thing. You would think that, not that he would for himself ask for the accolades of one final run, but you would think the announcement would come with one more full football season, rather, on his ledger. And for the announcement to come down, whatever it was a month ago, and then he says the spring game is it. Man, I feel like his final call shouldn't be a spring game, but okay. I hope that sign-off is a memorable one.
Yeah, but think about it. He'll be calling the Bucs winning their 3rd Super Bowl. And the opportunity to celebrate with all of us yet another championship in Tampa Bay, the city of champions. And, to me, that's a glorious way for him to end it. Florida State's not winning the national championship this year. Florida State's not going to the college football playoff. Florida State's not winning the ACC championship. My man, he's going to be covering a world champion in the form of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a perfect way to kind of send it on off.
Well, if that's the case, then sure. He couldn't have scripted it any better. And those are his beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not that he doesn't love the Noles and isn't, one of the top Noles that ever lived in terms of passion for the program, but he loves the hell out of the Bucs too. That's not a day-to-day job for him. That is an absolute passion. So hopefully he gets to walk out that way.
I've told the story. He does love the Bucs, and I tell that story all the time. It's hard to make Gene Deckerhoff mad. I made him mad at me briefly.
That should be on your resume for the future.
Well, you could put a few of those in there, right? That I ostracized the fan base briefly for some criticisms of a legend like Bobby Bowden and pissed off Gene Deckerhoff.
Yeah, but that's not hard to do. If you come out against Bobby Bowden, you're going to piss off Noles. Like, that's expected. To make Gene Deckerhoff mad at you is really, really hard.
It was temporary. It was one night. It was at a bar, and it was he and I talking about the Bucs. That's all it was. I mean, it can happen. It wasn't like a long-standing feud. It was a disagreement. And by the way, Mr. Deckerhoff, if you're listening, you know I love you. I was right. I was right. It was a criticism of John Gruden that turned out to be valid. But he wanted none. He wanted to hear none of it at that time.
That's poppycock, Jeff.
No, it was funny. He was talking, and my favorite part is because he's always an announcer, always a broadcaster. His anger was within the confines of play-by-play voice Gene Deckerhoff, which made it all the funnier. So he concluded his argument with me. I was just at One Buck Place, and it was so classic. It was.
Now, Jeff, I was just at One Buck Place. You couldn't be more wrong.
Yeah,
at the 25-yard line.
It was fantastic. The fact that he threw in One Buck Place just as if he would, as it was a broadcast. Man, I was like, okay, well, that's what am I going to do with that? You want another one? What do we do here? I don't even know. I'm getting up. You want another one?
Yeah, Ryan's got a point. You fired his cannons. That's what you did.
Yeah, cannons fired is good. It's fun. And luckily there was no resentment after that. He took it in. I don't think Gene's capable, unless you really are, a bad person or something. I don't think he's capable of not liking somebody. He's just that kind of gregarious. But it should be noted, I bring him up not for that personal story, but rather because he will be calling the spring game, right? So he's it's one last call. You're right. It shouldn't be a spring game that he calls it a day. But Gene's not the kind of guy that wants all the adulation and all that. So I understand, man. I think if you're sitting around and it hits you that you don't want to do it anymore, then get out. Don't force it, because broadcasting is one of those things, Tom. And it's when it starts to go and you don't have the passion, everybody can tell.
Well, and those are two different things. It's not always the same thing. If you don't care to be there, like remember the very brief stint of Bruce Arians on CBS Sunday Football. I mean, woo. I think he loved the idea of doing the job. And then when he got there, he's like, this sucks. I don't want to be here. And every time NFL Red Zone would go over to one of his games, I'd know it was Bruce, because I'm like, oh, well, here's a person who doesn't care to do anything today. He's like, yeah, that's what they should do on third down.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that cutting edge analysis, Bruce. We kind of need you to carry about 10 more seconds, will you please?
It's because he wanted to be on the sidelines again, and he got that opportunity. So there's all of that. On the sidelines tomorrow will be 4 Seminole legends and former players, of course, and they'll be doing the coaching, and I wish them well. It should be fun. There's only so much you can do to spruce up the spring game. What are you most looking forward to? I asked this of the fans in a lot of ways, because for me, it really is a couple of things, and it usually has to do with boring talking points for a talk show, and that is there are certain backups that I want to see perform in a way that gives me some confidence that as we move forward, you have quality depth at certain positions. For starting at quarterback, I mean, to me, the biggest thing I want to see is how well does Tate Rodemaker, who by all accounts, yours, mine, and everybody who's been at those practices, has had an exceptional spring in the way of growth. When he has had time to throw, there have been days flatly stated that he was the better quarterback. There have been days, not every day, but there have been days where he was the better quarterback. That's how much he's improved and how far he's come. But all of us, the press, the fans, and I'm sure even these coaches, and to some degree, maybe even Tate, we need to see it. It has to happen when there's a little bit of pressure, when the lights are supposedly on, right? When there is a lot of eyes on you to make a play that is there, he's got to do it because he's done it all through this spring.
Yeah, and there are certain players and certain receivers that quarterbacks seem to fit pretty well with. Like I remember when Christian Ponder took over the job, and with Rodney Smith for big plays, they just kind of seemed to be simpatico for those big throws down the field. Obviously, Jameis loved KB early in games. He got him involved early in games, and sometimes for really big plays like the one on the road at Clemson. And I'm not comparing, greatness necessarily by taking those quarterback receiver combinations with what we have currently. But, Ja'Kai Douglas and Jordan Travis clearly see the field the same way. It looks like Micah Pittman and Jordan Travis are developing that chemistry as well. But then Kentron and Tate, there's something about 88 and 18. They play very well together. So I hope that they can connect on a couple of plays so people can see not only what we have seen from Tate Rodemaker and a continuation of the confidence in the backup quarterback as he gains confidence in himself, but then also some of these forgotten returning players. And receiver has a lot of forgotten returning players. I think Pokey Wilson's had a nice camp. I feel like he's had a nice camp every single camp he's been here for the last 10 years. The coaching staff always points it out, but we've seen it with our own eyes. Kentron, obviously. And then if I'm going to throw a transfer in there, Trey Benson has said that he's had to stop instead of getting to full speed because of the nature of a drill they're running or the scrimmage or whatever it is in 11 on 11. They'll blow the whistles and he doesn't get to go full speed and make a decision about trucking a guy or just getting to that tip-top speed, which is one of the fastest on the team. If Trey Benson gets a chance to break one outside for a huge gain, I want to see what that looks like. I want to see what his fifth gear looks like. That could be very exciting because that is a giant dude who moves that fast.
And a likable kid. I got to tell you that he's been fun to talk to or listen to talk in these post-game and post-practice sessions. There was one the other day, and he was great. Again, that's an affable, hardworking, fun-loving kid. You can tell he loves football. He's excited to be healthy again. I'm really excited to see how he plays. That's a position group that's a lot better than any of us thought it would be coming into spring. And that's an encouraging development. I think the other part about this is that Benson, in a lot of ways, has really brought out the best in Trayshawn Ward. Ward has always practiced hard. Ward has always played hard. He's been given nothing. He was a walk-on, and he's had to find his way into this starting unit. And I get the sense that he's been challenged by Benson. Maybe not verbally by Benson himself, but by Benson's play. And when Ward gets a chance to shine, he goes for it because he knows he's in a battle for that one spot at running back. He just is. I think Benson's been that good that he could supplant him as the number one guy. Now, they're going to rotate lots of guys, but I think that he knows he's got to fight for it, and that's what you've wanted. That's what we've wanted at every position. They've got it at running back.
Well, yeah, I think you could list everybody at running back on the two deep or whatever, your roster for the spring because they don't really do a two deep. And if they made a play tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised. Because even DJ Williams had another nice day yesterday, and we noticed that last week. DJ Williams is coming on, and he's got a role as well. He can be a short yardage player just like Trey Benson can, but he's also got a little bit of burst to him. So CJ Campbell has had a very good camp. Rodney Hill has had some significant moments in camp. Trayshawn Ward's been good. Benson's been good. DJ Williams of late. Any one of those guys steps up and makes a play for us tomorrow, I wouldn't be shocked. Again, it's nice because even though we're not responsible for what happens every day in practice, not even close, it's almost like we want you guys, all of you out there, to be able to see what we've been seeing. I know that's how the coaches feel when they do a spring game, but even as a media member, I feel that way. I'm like, look, you're going to enjoy what this guy does at this position or what Tayden Bethune looks like sideline to sideline. I just want everybody to see that, and I hope tomorrow, because we'll say it on Monday if it isn't, I hope tomorrow is a good representation of what we've seen so far. You just can't control that, though. Hopefully it is.
Brian writes, I've been out of pocket for several weeks, been unable to listen. How does the special teams play look since it was so horrible last year? We did a joke about this yesterday. Tom just alluded to some of those things just now. You can't know in practice, Brian. You can't know. Last year in practice, they looked like gangbusters. They drilled everything over and over again, and they got into games and nobody caught the ball, and none of the blocking schemes mattered. None of the intensity of those drills that we saw every day in practice mattered, because if you don't catch the damn ball, it makes no difference how quickly you get back to your spot, how technique sound you are in blocking it up. You got to catch it and return it. It's that simple. I do believe they have a couple of guys that can catch it and do something with it. And Micah Pittman's one of those guys. So, I think they have that. Now that's half the battle. I had no doubt that the fundamentals from the blocking scheme and in the return game were sound. They just never caught the ball.
I'm not so sure on kick returns. We had so many low IQ things that happened last year on special teams. It was just unbelievable. It looked like I don't even know what. I'll bet D3 schools do it better. But, I mean, we're going to rave about Mastromano being able to punt with both feet. Okay, like whatever, who cares?
The announcers raved about that. I don't know that anybody here did.
Yeah, I think Papuchis did a little bit. And I like John Fine, and he's a good coach. But, think about like the walking out of the end zone kick returns. Like, who coaches that? What the hell is that? That's terrible. Not catching the ball on punt returns. Our coverage units were bad. Our blocking, I think, a kick return was bad. It's just across the board pretty terrible. Now, the hope is that as you get better players in here in the incoming class, that you create the depth necessary to fortify the ranks of special teams, because it's not all starters. You need some other good players too. If you're thin at linebacker, that's going to hurt special teams. Like straight up, you need some of those backup linebackers to be able to make plays in kick returns. And then obviously if you're thin or not that talented or not fast enough at corner or defensive back, safety, well, then your gunner play isn't that great either. I think we've gotten better at defensive back, linebacker. I know we've gotten faster and better at wide receiver in the return game, especially with Pittman. But I think the depth is building there. It's just they drilled it so much last year, you would have thought they would have been a top 5 special teams group in the country. They were bottom 5. They were just awful. We'll know in the fall.
Tom, right behind you, the Yankees just supplied a dong. Who was that who hit the dong? Do you know?
I've got such good headset. It was a Yankee Stadium job. It's an Oppo line drive to right field that probably went 314 feet and got over the wall. But I did hear the "see ya," so it's baseball season now.
So you threw up a little bit in your mouth.
I did a little bit. I got through my point without throwing up all the way, though. That's pretty good.
I just wanted to note that there were dongs behind you, and I wanted to know who it was.
Wait a minute. What is this? The Legend of Dewey Cox? Because that's what that sounds like.
Yeah, it's the Legend of Eric Llewellyn and I broadcasting in New Orleans.
Walk hard.
Oh, it was Stanton. It was Stanton who hit the dong. All right. So anyhow, it was a line drive, although at least he's capable of hitting them out of any park.
So what I have in front of me is all Masters stuff, like on the far side televisions. And then obviously I've got one right in front of me here. So yeah, it's just Michael Kay and the Yankees and the Red Sox behind me, but it's nice to have that sound back though. Even if it is him, it's nice to have baseball back.
Baseball back. Agreed. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Tom's at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. I'm at home. I wish I were there. You can be there. You should go there. Leave work now. Make it on down to Appalachia Parkway and turn into the CP and get you a tall, cold one and say, "This is for Jeff Cameron." More of the show in a moment. Refreshing and simple. 2 words you don't hear many people use to describe their experience going through the process of getting a home loan. That's what puts the Hamilton Home Loans experience in a category all their own. If you're buying or refinancing a home, Hamilton Home Loans will provide a personalized mortgage experience that is dedicated to making the process refreshingly simple. It all begins with an initial consultation with an experienced Hamilton Home Loans advisor to find out what your goals are in order to find the right mortgage to suit your specific needs. Then, your personal home loan advisor will take you through all the steps from application, underwriting, approval, and closing, all the way to the front steps of your new home. Once you've experienced the Hamilton Home Loan process, you can be a customer for life and never have to pay lender fees again. For first responders, nurses, physician assistants, teachers, active and retired military, ask about the Hamilton for Heroes program. Personalized attention with your needs put first. Now that's refreshingly simple. Find out more at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 200719.
Sellers Tile does it better for business owners, contractors, designers, and homeowners. Better design ideas, better quality tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring, better mosaics, ceramic, and vinyl solutions. And Sellers makes it easier with their amazing showroom and first-class professionals. Maybe it's time to get Sellers working for you on Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive, or online at sellerstile.com. For better style, quality, and design, go with Sellers in Tallahassee. Call 656-8453.
Physical stress on our bodies can take its toll as the years go by. Whether you're looking to get back into an old sport or just want to spend more time outdoors to explore all life has to offer in our beautiful city, the dedicated team at Tallahassee Orthopedic Clinic is here for you every step of the way. You can trust TOC for all of your orthopedic needs. And now, scheduling an appointment has never been easier. Just visit teamtoc.com and click schedule online. That's teamtoc.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit isf.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of
Jeff Cameron Show, Libations, Friday, loosey-goosey edition of the program. I believe Tiger Woods is even par now on the day. Bogey number one, parred the par five. So it's just an indicator of how difficult everything is out there right now. I know that. And, people, what's fun about this? The fields kind of come back, and that's what's fun as you watch this thing. It's got a little bit of a feel to the U.S. Open, Tom, don't you think?
Yeah, this has been a really interesting spring. It's not just here, in Tallahassee where we've had a lot of windy and cool days. It's been that way in the region, and it's made some of this golf not ridiculous, but just a lot harder than you typically see. Again, I go back to the players that Saturday that's a joke. That was crazy. And then today in Augusta this afternoon is going to be the same, where you have sustained winds in the 20s and gusts upwards of 35 or 40 miles an hour trying to hit to those tabletop greens. It's going to be a bit of a massacre out there. So if Tiger or anybody can get in around 1 or 2 over at the end of today, I think they're going to be in business. Tiger again in a position on number 3 where he's got to get up and down. But I think that's just going to be the theme for everybody today is, get up and down when you can, make those 6-footers. And then if there's a gust of wind, hope it's in the correct direction, not in the wrong direction, because you could be in the trees or in the water.
Yeah, I'm going to give you an indicator of just how difficult it's playing. Charles Schwartzel today did go 3 under in round 2, and he's tied for 3rd, and he is 3 under for the tournament. Now, from there, you look at Cam Smith is on the course right now. So far today, he's +1. Sung J M today, +1 on his afternoon. He's at -4 for the tournament, tied for first place. Danny Willett is 1 under on the day. Here are just, and I won't give names, but here you go. Suffice to say, Scheffler, Johnson, Berger, all these guys, just It's +1, -1, +1, even, -1, -1, even, +1, +1, +2, +2, -1, even. That's today, man. Nobody's going anywhere. That's what that looks like.
Yeah, in pristine conditions, this is a course where you can shoot 66 or 67 without breaking much of a sweat because of all the scoring opportunities in the back nine. It's just today's not that day. And apparently, my buddy Kevin, who does this stuff for DFS, he said Saturday is going to be a lot like this. So you might see some numbers near par, and that's happened before. I think it was Zach Johnson that won the Masters at an over par score. But I think you're going to be seeing, 2 or 3 under at the end of today or tomorrow for the tournament is going to be a really, really good score.
If you remember that tournament, that Masters is, at that time, we described it as the ultra conservative approach to playing golf, because on every single par 5, he laid up and he trusted his hands and he trusted his putting stroke, and he was able to get close enough to knock down those putts and either birdie or par those holes without being aggressive and not having the length. It's fascinating, though. We've learned since that that's actually an aggressive approach to playing golf. It's adhering to a game plan, no matter the conditions, no matter the situation, no matter the pressure, right? And hitting the shot that you planned on hitting before you ever stepped foot on the grounds and confronted those sorts of conditions. We learned from Trey Jones, who's like, if your spot is here, you have to hit to there. That's called being aggressive within the game plan you played for yourself. Well, I suspect that a lot of game plans have shifted radically since they've arrived. Dustin Johnson cannot hit a driver. He is currently hitting nothing but 3-wood. The one driver he did hit, he yanked a million miles left and he put it back in his bag. He's not going to hit driver. When was the last time Dustin Johnson, perhaps the most lethal driver on tour when he's right, decided he can't hit driver? Now, that's a swing problem, but nonetheless, the conditions are such, too, where you're not being overly rewarded. It's interesting. To watch these guys have to, I guess, enact a different way of going about the course right now because of these winds and how dry the greens are getting now with the crosswind. It's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I think 8 definitely plays as a layup hole or 3-shot par 5 just by definition because you're going up the hill. And 15 already was because they lengthened that hole and they changed the way it was structured. Only a handful of people went after it yesterday in 2, and fewer succeeded, obviously. So I think those 2 holes are 3-shot par 5s. 2 you can kind of get funny with if you want to, but then 13, unless you hit a perfect tee ball, even though that hole is short, if the wind's blowing the wrong way, don't even try it. Because again, this is in the weeds with golf, but if you've got a 16 feet square area that you can land a golf ball, would you rather try that with a 4-iron or 5-iron, or how about a wedge?
Right.
With the wind, take the wedge, flight it down, and make it happen. But this is going to be a fun thing to watch this weekend because you're right. I think it is somewhere between a Masters that we typically see, especially with the crowds back, which is awesome, the patrons back, but and a U.S. Open. It's somewhere in between those 2 things.
Big weekend for Florida State baseball on the road. The series is not nearly as sexy as the series that you're going to get in softball, which is a much more intriguing matchup, number 3 versus number 5. But these 2 ACC clubs are both struggling. Florida State finally getting off the schneid and winning after losing 5 straight. They had to do it in extra innings, a walk-off win against Stetson. Again, winning games when you're in the midst of a 5-game losing streak is all that matters. Now they go to Atlanta. And, Georgia Tech started this year like they were going to be a problem in the ACC because they beat Georgia out of the SEC, and they had a great series. I believe it was a sweep over Virginia Tech, Tom, at that time. But then it went south, and they're looking to get right. And Georgia Tech's been able to score, so you've got good pitching for Florida State against good hitting, but Georgia Tech hasn't been able to get any stops. So here's what I'm going to tell you. If for some reason Florida State doesn't hit this weekend, then I'm not going to expect them really to hit it all the rest of the year. I mean, we've got a huge sample size. We're at a crossroads now. Georgia Tech is not an elite pitching club.
Well, what was interesting is in the preseason, in your interview with Meat, he said that the guys had bought into a certain approach to use all fields. Remember, he said it took him a while. It was almost like he was relaying info as though he was like a drill sergeant, where he's saying, I got to break you in order to get you to do what we need you to do and listen to the principles that we need you to listen to. I wonder if they're second guessing themselves, because there are so many times where you can see mentally our guys in the batter's box are tying themselves in knots before a pitch is even thrown. It's been a hallmark of this program that has pissed me off for a long time, the backwards K, when you really can't afford to strike out looking, swing the bat, especially if it's down the middle. We just look like we're out of sequence, like we're looking for the wrong pitches or we're looking in the wrong part of the zone. But whatever it is, when you go team wide in a slump, and that's kind of a rare thing, even though baseball is a game of failure. You don't usually see all of your guys going through a slump at the same time. It's just not. It's hard not to get extra frustrated. It's almost like you talking about in football. There's nothing more emasculating than not being able to stop the run on defense. When you look like you're mentally beaten when it gets to 2 strikes, or that 50-50 call is always a called strike rather than a ball, and you can kind of see it in their eyes that this is going to be a tough go, that makes it all the harder to watch. So hopefully they improve it this weekend, and then again, come back here and give a good effort on Tuesday night at home against Florida.
Yeah, win the game. Really quickly, I'll say this. People sometimes think I'm not critical. I'm not quick to hit the panic button in baseball the way most fans are. And I think our fan base tends to look at baseball the same way they look at football, which is foolish. But that said, if you're going to rip meat, you can this year more than most. He revamped the lineup, went in, brought players in that were supposed to be contact-oriented, a little bit more contact-oriented. They can't hit 2-0 fastballs. That is unforgivable. You work so hard to get leverage. You work to get 3-1. You work to get 2-0. If you get a 2-0 fastball and you're sitting dead red and you can't hit it, and it's not being thrown by Nolan Ryan, then I don't know what's going on. Then that tells me your approach, and I don't mean meats per se, but whatever it is he's told these guys has not gotten home. It's not working. Because there were guys who hit fastballs and hunted fastballs previous that aren't able to hit them now. This whole thing has been odd to watch transpire. I know that there's a weight of a slump that begins to affect one guy, then another guy, then another guy, and if you press in baseball, you're screwed. But, man, I'm tired of looking at 2-0 fastballs, 3-1 fastballs, not even fouled off. Just not even contacted, Tom. That can't happen. That can't happen.
Agreed. And that's the thing where you can't be afraid to say in that situation, hey, hitting coach, the hell, because we thought we were going to fix this strikeout ratio last year or whatever the rate, and it's above where it was last year, which is not good considering you brought in a lot of new dudes to avoid this. You know, that there are some young players in this lineup that they're going to grow and they're going to get better, but there are other guys you brought in precisely to be something different than what we had last year. So come on now. Let's get it done. Pitching looks good. Let's meet it with some bats.
See if they do. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
For local news now.
Teachers in multiple counties could score a $100 gift. Envision Credit Union is hosting the contest to promote Teacher Appreciation Week. Any community member can nominate an educator they feel deserves recognition. Winners will be announced during Teacher Appreciation Week, May 2nd through the 6th. 50 teachers will be chosen from across North Florida and South Georgia. The first interactive job fair is coming to Thomasville. The goal is to turn your passion into a paycheck and fill one of the hundreds of jobs available. Landis Thomas said we have around 300 openings right now, so we could find 300 to 400 people to put to work that would actually show up. We could definitely get them jobs. Landis Thomas is the president of New Hire Solutions. She said they are teaming up with Imagine Thomasville for the first interactive job fair. Thomas said workforce demand has increased and companies are playing catch up, trying to fill positions they have been empty for too long. More than 50 businesses will be at the Deep South Fairgrounds on Thursday, April 28th. People looking for a job can attend from 2 to 6 p.m. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunny skies this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 71. Winds out of the west 10 to 20 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 45 tonight, mainly clear. Lots of sunshine outside tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 68. Dry with temperatures near average Sunday and Monday and highs in the upper 70s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 69.
What's important when shopping at a gun store? Let's start with a friendly and knowledgeable staff. Then add top-notch service, great selection and pricing, and a personal shopping experience only found at a locally owned and operated business. At Red Hills Arms, they're right on target. While other gun stores come and go, Red Hills Arms remains Tallahassee's go-to local gun store for all your firearms needs. Stop by today and get welcomed in like family.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
It's Congressman Michael Waltz on the Greg Tish Show.
Good morning, Congressman. How are you doing?
Hey, doing well.
Again, just what you have to go through day in and day out. I don't know how you have hair left, or like Matty Rowe, just completely bald.
Hey,
sorry.
And the irony of it all, the progressives are the tail wagging the dog. This whole bipartisan White House is a joke. We're just watching them eat their own.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
The Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loan.
We've come a long way, Tom, since I was in the stands for spring football, watching Dan Kendra alter the course of Florida State football as he was injured on a play in which he was live, fully live. Back in the day, that's how these things went. Everybody was live. It resembled a game. And I remember the injury. I remember sitting in the stands that day, and I remember thinking, well, that's a problem. Of course, I couldn't have known that a guy that had been on the cover of Sports Illustrated as our future quarterback would go on to have success as a fullback, and actually was a decent one at that. These games don't play out that way anymore, and that's a good thing. But it does make it a challenge to keep it interesting. And I know Coach Norvell is doing his best to introduce different things. This year, though, I will say, when you're not a great football team and you're trying to get better, and there are pieces of the puzzle that a lot of people haven't seen, that does provide a level of intrigue for the spring game that might not otherwise be there if you had a lot of returning starters and a talented group that you knew really only had 2 or 3 games that were going to be pivotal to their seasonal outcome.
Yeah, well, first of all, did you see on Twitter the story that Ian Rappaport had about Dan Kendra?
No.
I didn't realize that Ian had a story. I don't know if he was working on the beat or whatever, but he said that he remembered covering Kendra at a combine, and there's alliteration there. And Kendra was doing a leg press, and a blood vessel in his eye popped.
Yeah, I remember that.
While he was doing it. Well, Ian was there, apparently, so he never forgot it. I didn't expect to see a Dan Kendra story from an NFL insider that breaks news for a living like Adam Schefter, but I saw that this morning. I thought that was pretty funny.
So he had that happen more than once. He would frequently do leg presses of insane amounts of weight, and he'd look like the Incredible Hulk, and then he would kind of get up, and there were times, his eyes were bloodshot because of it. It's by the way, when we talk about injuries and going full bore or not, I crack up laughing. Ryan writes, can we put green jerseys on the offensive line this week? And I'm half inclined to agree. That group is injury prone, to say the least. And that's the one thing that I think has to change, to where we get a group that's tougher and stronger and more capable of sustaining health despite the ugly and physical nature of their jobs. That's been the one disappointment this spring. They have had to go after each other every day in practice, sometimes a little hamstrung by guys missing time here or there. We're not allowed to give specifics, but Hamilton, listen to me, I'm thinking of Hamilton Home Loans, the legendary team, Chad and Shannon. No, I think those guys have, alluded to this, Coach Norvell, that is, about camp and the difficulties at times because guys missing days here and there. Yeah, man, that makes it difficult. And it will make it difficult to have any sort of fluidity to the spring game, I would believe, as well.
Yeah, but, still, there are things that we talked about with, the transfers and the early enrollees that you can get excited about it, because it's not just about transfers at receiver or linebacker. Like, if I'm a fan and I've read a lot of what we do here at warchant.com, I want to see Daniel Lyons. I want to see Bishop Thomas. I want to see Azarie Thomas. I want to see Sam McCall. And those players have a really good chance to make big plays tomorrow as well. Like, I remember when I first started covering Florida State, it was for a different network. And spring camp was my first assignment. we talked about how early enrollees were like the best thing that could have happened to spring football for intrigue and clicks because Florida State was okay, but they were getting better under Jimbo. Now the transfer portal makes spring practice even more relevant than ever before because you're bringing in ready-made contributors. So that's the thing that makes this game more relevant to me than in years past is they hit on the portal, that it was a proof of concept that they know how to evaluate kids that can come into this program and contribute immediately. So you have that rolling in. You have early enrollees rolling in from this class. AJ Duffy's going to get some time tomorrow. There are a lot of reasons when you think about it that tomorrow is very interesting and we'll tell you a little bit about the future of this program this fall.
Yeah, the problem with the younger guys getting in and us getting excited about them is, again, if you're doing like the guys you just named when you talked about Lyons and Bishop Thomas, I agree with you. We've seen them do it in our practice sessions, even against the first teamers when they've had opportunities, they've kind of shined at times. When they're doing it tomorrow against guys that are second, third string, then I don't know that we can really learn a lot. And that's the only problem. I don't know how many of the guys up front that are considered quote unquote starters are going to play tomorrow. I don't think any of us do. We do know that it looks like a couple of them will be out, and they've been very close to the best and careful with some other guys. So if a guy doesn't play tomorrow on the offensive line, I'm speaking to you, Ryan, anybody else who has those concerns, it doesn't necessarily mean they're hurt like permanently. It doesn't really mean that they have something that's devastating. It could just mean that they're doing what you want them to do, which is not putting them in harm's way.
Yeah, agreed. It's not always the same thing. And one thing I can note, because we get to see practice, a reason to be excited about specifically Daniel Lyons, he's gone up in one-on-ones and group drills where it's just the trenches against some names that will be playing for us significantly this year and won those reps. That might not be the case tomorrow when they go good on good and they rotate bodies in and out. But for that specific player, he already, even though he has no fundamentals about him, at least up to the standard of Odell Hagens, who has been driven nuts a few times in individual drills, he knows how to play and he knows how to get by somebody and get into the backfield. So I look forward to that. But yeah, if you're looking for immediate contributors, you're looking at the defensive backs. 20 would be the first among those early enrollees that could really contribute right away. Azaria Thomas. We'll see what kind of important reps he gets tomorrow, but I've got a sneaking suspicion he might be in some high leverage situations. So it'll be fun to see.
The incoming players, not transfer portal players, but the recruits that did come here, the ones who didn't disappoint us on signing day and go from being sure things to devastating betrayals. Those individuals have been correctly assessed. Like, I don't think they've really whiffed on too many guys here. I mean, even the younger guys that won't play this year and don't need to play this year, you're like, ooh, I like where that's going. I mean, we've said that a lot at this camp. That means that if they step it up at wide receiver, and I'm looking at you, Ron Dugans, if they step it up at wide receiver and get some yeses, they're doing a good job of evaluation.
Yes. If they were guests on Solving for the Future, which you can hear right here on Thursdays on the Jeff
Thanks
Cameron
to
Show.
our friends at ISF.
I think if they were guests during those segments, specifically Mike, you'd say, how do you do it? Because you do solve for the future. Just tell us how. Because evaluation-wise, it's really a tough place to be when you're at Florida State at this specific time, because you can get good players, but you might not be able to get the best of the best. If LSU, Alabama, well, why do I start with LSU? That's wrong. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State calling first. They're probably going to say yes to those institutions given what they have NIL-wise. So in that intermediate blue chip to high 3-star range, can you make the right call? And they've done that so far. I mean, the hit rate, it gives me hope, for example, man, for the offensive line, the other 3 kids that are coming in this summer. I see why Kenia Charlton is here. I see why Daughtry Richardson is here. So the next 3 with Sapp and Armella and the one other offensive lineman I can't name right now, I have faith in what they're doing and what they're seeing and circling. These are people that we can reasonably get right now, given where we are as a program, and they can still help us. That is a fine line to walk, but they're doing it quite well.
Kenia Charlton's a kid that has to lose all the bad weight. He's great as up front as a run blocker. He's terrible as a pass blocker right now, and that's because he's behemoth. He's got to lose weight. It's good that you got a guy that size. It's the classic giddy up and whoa type thing. I mean, you do want him to be a big man when you bring him in here. He's got to lose weight. He is slow because of that size, but man, he's a road grader in the run game. So you're right about that. I like that. We'll take a quick break, come back, wrap it up. I'll get you some probables out here. We'll sign off, and then you guys can all drink with Tom and Corey at the CP. Yes, you can. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue just north of Havana is your final destination for hamburger excellence. But what if you don't know which burger to try? Captain Kenny has turned off the no smoking sign and has a 3-burger flight to help you make your decision. Put down that tray table and let your taste buds fly. Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue, 1 mile north of the last light in Havana. Highway 27 Grill and Barbecue. Get your fill at the grill.
Clean, renewable energy means fresher air, healthier residents, new green jobs, and a stronger, more resilient community. How we get there is up to you. Share your input today to help shape the Tallahassee of tomorrow. Take the Clean Energy Survey at talgov.com.
Tune in every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. for Great Southern Gospel with Bobby and Nita Key, sharing their voices for nearly 20 years, only on Real Talk 93.3.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take-home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat-screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of thewarchant.com.
Wrapping it up on our libations Friday, loosey-goosey, less loosey-goosey than I would have liked, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It is spring football weekend. It is almost time for the spring game. Once again, let's look at the lineup. Post it up there, if you will, Director Matthew, as we get set to party this weekend with fellow Noles everywhere. If you're making your way into town, good to have you. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill this evening coming up. Yeah, really, you can go over there now if you want. If you're in town, you're already here. Don't have to wait till 5. Officially, the happy hour from Warchant is from 5 to 6. Tom's holding up food. You got food over there. What is it?
I need to unmute myself so I can speak. But yeah, these are the sausage bites, buddy. The Bradley bites.
Get after it.
Bradley sausage with a little spicy barbecue. So I know I can't interrupt you because of the sound mixing and would go all garbled during probables. So I'm just going to chew on this and show the people how delicious they are when you list the probables in a minute.
What a sacrifice. What a sacrifice. I'm glad that you're going to do that. Yes, you can get that. You can get the shrimp. You can get some delicious wings. Lots of good food at the CP. Obviously, plenty of beers to choose from and a gazillion televisions and like-minded Noles everywhere. So make your way over off of Appalachia Parkway, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill for happy hour. And then tomorrow, 12 to 3, we'll be at Hotel Indigo. 1 to 3 is the pregame show, myself and Tom Lang. I'm hoping to make that. Let's knock on wood that I feel better tomorrow than I do currently. There's the watch-along party. Gene and Tom will do that for you at 5 o'clock, obviously, as the spring game gets underway. And so that pregame show turns into a watch party, which turns into a postgame call-in show after the game with Gene and Tom as well. So we've got you covered here at warchant.com for all your spring game festivities. Now, aforementioned probables. Let's fire it up, Matthew.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Some of these games obviously already underway. Red Sox, Yanks, I think tied at 3 in the Bronx with a bunch of home runs in this game. Nathan Eovaldi and Garrett Cole, your starters there. White Sox, Tigers, Lucas Giolito, Eduardo Rodriguez. By the way, our thanks to North Florida Payroll Services. You know we love you, North Florida Payroll Services. Athletics, Phils, Frankie Montas, Aaron Nola. Orioles, Rays, John Means, Shane McClanahan. Dodgers, Rockies, Walker Buehler. Oh!
Trapper keeper.
There it is. Kyle Freeland goes for the Rockies. Mariners, Twins, Robbie Ray.
Hey, again?
Yeah. Yeah. Joe Ryan starting for the Twins. Marlins, Giants, Sandy Alcantara, Logan Webb, Mets, Nats, Max Scherzer, Josiah Gray, Rangers, Blue Jays, John Gray, Jose Barrios, Reds, Braves, Rivera, San Martin, and Charlie Morton. Astros, Angels, Jake Odorizzi, Reed Detmers. Padres, D-backs, Sean Manaea, Merrill Kelly still out here doing his thing. And Brewers, Cubs postponed. They'll make that up. When they do, it'll be Brandon Woodruff and Justin Steele. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Thanks to North Florida Payroll Services. Thanks to Orange Theory Fitness. Thanks to Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Thanks to Metro Deli. Thanks to you. Thanks to, obviously, T-Spark Roofing and Construction. Thanks to Hamilton Home Loans. Thanks to all of you. The love, it's palpable, baby. We feel it. Yes, I was not able to get to everybody that I wanted to today.
The Metro Deli little koozies here for the golf tournament are in. I'll put that up to the camera there, but those are sweet. Look at that.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Look at that. Well done, Metro Deli. Here's your little logo placement.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I want like 10 of those for the Cameron household. Those are
We could do that for you. We've got enough for you.
They're fantastic. I love them.
Yeah, give a couple out today at the CP too. Why not?
Yeah, you should. Also, I would tell you that those koozies look great, but so do the tumblers. The tumblers look good too. We don't have those to show for you.
We don't. No, those will be ready. We have a couple of the prototypes, to use official terminology, done, but by Thursday, those are going to be all set. So everybody who participates in the golf tournament is going to get all of that, plus free booze. This time next week, actually think about it. This time next week, we will be at the Corner Pocket enjoying our post-round celebration. It'll be a good time.
We are 1 week from today going to be in a great mood. I will hydrate. Between now and then, it will be 6 straight days of hydrating, and I don't mean the wink, wink, nod, nod type of hydrating. I'm actually going to hydrate. I'm going to try to get it together. I got to make sure I'm right, because I'm ready for us to go out there and play a great round at Capital City Country Club, man. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, the pressure's on Director Matthew, who hasn't played since like a year or two ago, so we need to get him out there. If that means that maybe on Monday I run the video, he needs to get out there and go. We need a good player.
Oh, well, man, you just offered up a day off for him is what you did right there.
Not
man.
really. He knows there's a sarcasm font.
Well, I have a suspicion that you're going to go. There it is. You're going to get a little extra music here at the end, because I'm done. I'm shot. I put in my 2 hours. I've got nothing more, nothing left. That's all it is. For Tom Lang and Director Matthew, I'm Jeff. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully I'll see you guys out there this weekend, but go enjoy yourself. Have fun. Go by the CP. It'll be a good time out there. Take care, everybody. Go Noles.